Today our sister sit down is how many years old?
This is our third annual Sister Sit Down. I'm Melissa Mickelson. This is Jessica Stellwagen.
Younger sister.
And we are the co-founders of Bodify and Botify Academy. We just thought we would answer some questions that you guys all threw at us on Instagram and Facebook. And why don't we just dive in?
Perfect, keeps us on our toes. Let's
Okay,
rock.
so how has CoolSculpting changed since you started Botify, which was 6.5 years ago?
Such a good question. So I would say the biggest things that have changed with CoolSculpting is really Allergan is constantly pumping money into R&D and making sure that whatever device we're offering, whatever fat freezing procedure that we're offering is really maximizing results for the client, but also is a product that we're proud of.
Great, so I love this question, and this is asked by Amanda. Are you opening a third Botify location soon?
I'll let you take that one.
Oh, my lips should be sealed, but yes, we are in the works for a third location, TBA, to be determined TBD, on where it's going to be and when it's going to be open, but stay tuned.
Yeah, we're really excited. We just have always felt this organic growth is kind of our path. There's lots of providers out there who say, hey, I'm going to get institutional money and we're going to blow this out of the water, we're going to have 1 million locations, but for Botify, we've always just intrinsically and internally kind of felt this urge to open another location when it's right, and it's definitely right.
Okay, next question. Why CoolSculpting over any other services?
Such an easy one. Melissa ran a med spa. They offered 3 different services. Apparently 3 is what we like, 3 locations, 3rd annual sister sit down, and 3 services. And when I went to Melissa, it was just really heavy on my heart that whatever service we were going to offer, we needed to be able to guarantee results and offer a guarantee. People are not fearful of spending money, they're fearful of spending money and getting no result. And so when I looked Melissa in the face and said, between the 3 things that you offer and all the services that you've looked at over the years, what do you feel that we could confidently offer our clients with a guarantee and without hesitation? She said CoolSculpting. So that was my big draw to CoolSculpting.
Yeah, and we also just thought it was really important. CoolSculpting works, but in the wrong hands, it can work poorly. So becoming an expert at CoolSculpting, just honing that craft, being able to shape bodies in the way, I think it's, for our clients, it makes a lot of sense. Why go to somebody that does a bazillion services? They can't specialize in anything. When they can come here to Botify, know that day in, day out, you are going to get the best results. You're going to have the most attention paid to you. You have multiple technicians working on you, and it really was a win-win for both people.
And in the last 6.5 years, I have never told somebody what I do for a living, freeze fat and get rid of, bulges that you don't want, without someone's face lighting up and being like, wow, that's something I want. So just such a great space to be in, good, bad, right, or wrong. How we feel in our skin impacts our interactions, how we operate in the world, and it's pretty remarkable that we can transform a body through a non-invasive service that is consistent and is predictable and gives you those wow results.
Okay, this is from Comfy Baker.
Ooh,
What
she always
drew
comments me, thank you.
What drew you to CoolSculpting?
Yeah, I think a lot of what we just said is absolutely what drew us to CoolSculpting. We could transform bodies. It was going to be consistent and predictable. But something that we don't talk about a lot is I so deeply wanted to work with my sister, and our interests and passions never collided. And so when I caught this little hint of, hey, this is something I care about, and I asked myself, is it something I could care about? Boom, I was like, this is what we've got to do. Because we ran a lot of ideas back and forth over the years and nothing ever stuck. So that was a huge draw for me. She was passionate, she had experience with it, she loved it, she knew it worked, clients wanted it by name, and I was looking to join forces and ride on the coattails of this pretty one.
And we're also our own client, right? We're women, we eat well, we exercise, we're doing all the right things, and we still have spots on our body that we can't seem to change. And it's amazing.
Not me, I look really good.
She's done 95 treatments of CoolSculpting.
9,000 services.
She used to be 500 pounds.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm 60% of all of our success on my own body.
So just from Nicole B, are there any parts that cannot be CoolSculpted? And do you have more success with some areas over other areas?
Such a great question. When Melissa first started and when CoolSculpting first launched, only 2 areas. The flanks and the abdomen were the only areas that you could successfully treat with CoolSculpting. And over the years, they have pumped a ton of money, a ton of research, a ton of time and energy into getting other areas that we can treat. So in the US, there are 9 areas that we can safely treat. You can do that submental or under that chin. You can do those pesky little armpit fat bulges. You can do your underarms or upper arms rather. You can do that bra fat, abs, love handles, inner thigh, outer thigh, and also those knees. And we see success with with all of them. Melissa can kind of drill down into a few areas that we feel like might be a little bit more stubborn. Apparently they went to the company store and ordered some down comforters over those fat cells and made them a little bit more stubborn, but with the right number of treatments, the right provider, and the right plan, you can absolutely see success in all those areas.
Yeah, and in some areas that we can't do, people will ask. It's called the buffalo hump, so it's like this little area on the
Don't
back.
touch it.
And there's also an area called the fanny pack, which is right above your tailbone, like right about here. We can't do that one either. Calves is another area that we can't treat. We've even had people ask us if we could freeze their fat toes and feet. So
Don't
sorry,
spend money on
don't
that.
spend your money
Get
on
your shoes.
that. So I don't think that we have more success on one area over the other. I think most common areas that we do are stomach and love handles. I think those are like our top two by far.
I would say the pecs though for males, we always try and set the expectation that you probably need more than 2 treatments. So we really want to, again, set that expectation so people don't come back to us and say it didn't work. CoolSculpting does work. You have to go to the right provider, you have to have the right treatment plan, and you have to follow your treatment plan. So I would definitely say male chest tends to be about 3 times that we need to hit that to see that noticeable change that people are looking for.
All right, what other questions do you have? I'm done.
You're done? Woo-woo. So for success stories, actually let's talk about Botify Academy. So how did Botify Academy come to be? Obviously co-founders of both Bodify and Botify Academy, which is a training program for other CoolSculpting providers, but why the heck did we start to have a side hustle?
So for those of you who don't know, Bodify, we just do CoolSculpting, and in our first 2 years we were number 4 account in the nation, in the world. We do a ton of treatments, and so a lot of practices from all over were coming to us and saying, how are you doing this? How are you getting such amazing before and afters? How are you doing so many treatments? How are you marketing? And that's really when we decided we should start an academy for other providers that we could share our best practices with, how we market, how we give amazing customer service, and how we get these amazing clinical results. And so we just started training people.
And the biggest reason we did that is Melissa and I have always believed that there's enough fat to freeze for us all to win. People will look at us and say, you are crazy, that's proprietary information, why are you giving it to people, why are you sharing it? But the problem is if you don't share it and providers go do CoolSculpting poorly, the entire industry suffers. The sentiment around CoolSculpting goes down. People aren't successful, they don't like CoolSculpting, patients don't like CoolSculpting, and that's a huge bummer for patients and for Botify. And so we just said, let's share the love and teach people the skills that we have so that everybody can do better, because there's enough for all of us. So do you have any success stories from your group trainings or your one-on-ones?
Yeah, so we offer group trainings. People can come for site visits. We can do this one-on-one where we train you clinical, business, marketing, all of that. And I think my favorite one is we had somebody a few years ago that came from Canada, and they're amazing. They had a well-run business, their employees were excellent, their staff was wonderful, and they just didn't focus enough on CoolSculpting, and they did about $700,000 in CoolSculpting a year, Canadian dollars, and we just told them, focus, take this one rock star that you have, and that's all that she does, is she's going to do CoolSculpting from the business side, the clinical side, the follow-up, and just really have her hone her craft and treat CoolSculpting like a business within your business. And within 1 year, they had doubled the amount of CoolSculpting they had done, and I think that was, that's one little tweak that you can make in your business, and that's a massive change for them.
And a little different vantage point, but one of my favorite success stories about CoolSculpting and Botify Academy is that we're not just teaching people, they teach us, right? Like, we live in this sphere of people who eat, live, sleep, and breathe CoolSculpting, and Botify doesn't know everything and is, the bee's knees, and we walk on water. And so for us, having the open hearts and the open mind and just saying we are always learning, growth mindset, let's do this. People come in all the time and they share things too that is like, wow, that is astounding, and that's a really great idea, and then we're able to integrate it into our practice and also elevate. Cool. Next question, how the heck are you generating leads? We're not a a plastic surgery practice, but if we were, how the heck would we be generating leads at a plastic surgery center?
I don't know, you want to take this one?
She always does this.
I give her the hard one.
So I think it's about the story and the narrative. So something that Botify has done exceptionally well with our partners at Serendipit and our other marketing partners is, who do we want to be, what is that message, and how do we sing it from the mountaintop and educate people. So at Botify, one of the things that we're going to talk about and the clients that we're going to try and attract are people who don't want surgery. CoolSculpting and liposuction can absolutely achieve the same thing. Sometimes you have to go down a little different track, and there's more, treatments for CoolSculpting to do that, but you can get that. But something that we talk about is there's a subset of people who don't want to go under the knife, who are not interested in something invasive, who don't want the downtime, who don't want the potential complications, who don't want the anesthesia. And so our marketing has really been about how do we carve out this niche of people who want their body to transform, but they're not interested in an invasive procedure, but you could easily flip that script and then make it successful within a plastic surgery center. So how would you do that, Melissa? She's like rolling eyes.
I thought we were moving on to the next question. No, I think, a lot of people want liposuction, right? And maybe that they come into your office and they're not actually a good candidate for lipo. They have health concerns, so they can't have surgery, or they simply don't have enough fat. And so that's a great kind of like a lead generator for you to then say, oh, look it, but we offer this non-invasive solution and it actually is better for you. Or vice versa, you might get somebody that comes in that wants CoolSculpting, that's aware of CoolSculpting, but might really be a better candidate for a tummy tuck or liposuction. And so this is just a really beautiful like cross referral within your own business.
Yeah, Bodify only does one thing, and so we sing that from the mountaintop, and that is a huge benefit to us. But you could also say, why would you go to a provider who does one thing? Because we offer liposuction or CoolSculpting, and we're going to look at your body, talk to you about the pros and cons of each, and see which is best for you to proceed with. So it can be a beautiful story regardless.
Are we ready to move on to the next question?
Okay. How do you handle MAP pricing? So that's minimum advertised pricing. When people call on the phone and all they want to know is price.
It's one of the hardest questions that we get, and it's probably the most common question that we get when people call in and just want to know price. And I think it's important for us to train our staff and to let them know that price is not the first thing that you need to respond with. We almost call it the bob and weave. We're not trying to be deceptive, but it's like, that's not really the main point. We want to find out what area is frustrating them or which areas are frustrating them, how much fat do they have in that area, and how much fat do they want to go away. And obviously we can't accomplish that over a phone call. So letting that patient know that, there's a whole myriad of things that go into what CoolSculpting is, what your treatment plan is, and what your pricing for that is. We have the best deals going on right now, and the best way to find out your pricing is to come in for no obligation, no pressure consultation with one of our experts, and then we can dive into pricing after we see you and find out what your goals are.
And something fundamentally to remember is that not everyone's going to be your client, right? Like, I love the statement that rich people sort and poor people convince. If you have to convince people to come in and convince people that you're the cheapest provider and convince them that it's worth the money, generally those clients end up being a PITA, right? Pain in the buns. So I think just knowing that internally, when you get that call, it's okay to answer the question and to be very forward and to start having this dialogue. And if someone is frustrated and they literally will not get off the phone or says, oh, I'm not even going to talk to you unless you give me the price, honestly, that's probably not your ideal client, and it's okay to let them go. But as Melissa said, we've structured a way to engage with those people and get to the core and the true question, which is, I have fat and I'm sick of it. Can you help me get rid of that? And what does that process look like moving forward? So again, how much fat do you have, what areas frustrate you, and how much do you want gone? No way that I can do that eloquently or accurately over the phone. So are you willing to come in for a free consult? And we find that the vast majority of people, when you explain that, understand it and are willing to come in. If they don't understand it and they're getting frustrated, then you might just need to sift them out.
I also think it's important we offer virtual consultations. It's a very quick way. I mean, I probably 3 times this week, I've had somebody come in and really push on pricing and say, hey, listen, let's jump on a quick Zoom call. I can do my assessment via Zoom, and I can give you, it's not completely accurate because it's via Zoom, but I can give you a much better idea of what to expect pricing wise. And they've all done it, and they've actually all come in to have their treatments. And so I think that's a really nice little tip that you could do.
Yeah, and one last pearl, right? You have these people that they care about price. Budget matters for everyone. That's never going to escape us in this market. What happens when they actually come in and they're still concerned about price? Consumers are intelligent. They are not just looking at you. They're looking at 6, 7, 8 different providers, and they're making the decision that's best for them. So I think that's where you really have to focus on the salient points of what can we do as an organization to warrant a higher cycle price so I'm not competing on price. Because as Melissa and I always say, if you compete on price because you don't have anything else to differentiate on, you are going to get to the bottom of the barrel very quickly, and that's not attractive as a business owner. It's not attractive for your team who's making commissions, and nobody wants to be in that price war game. So differentiating yourself on things that actually matter, which Botify does well.
All right, do we have any more questions?
I think that was it. Good questions.
Okay, great. Well, thank you guys for joining us for our 3rd annual Sister Sit Down. Again, Melissa and Jessica with Botify.